Member for the official opposition.
Thank
The
you,
leader of the
Mr.
official
Speaker.
opposition. Yeah.
A whistleblower from Community Corrections says high-risk sexual offenders cases are being supervised remotely from 700 kilometers away because of staffing shortages. Breaches are being missed, victims left vulnerable, and offenders unsupervised. Why has this government allowed community corrections in the north to deteriorate while public safety in the north is severely compromised?
Minister of Public Safety and Solicitor General.
Thank you very much to the Speaker, and thank you very much to the Leader of the Opposition for the question. BC Corrections plays a vital role, and BC Corrections continuously focuses efforts on reducing violent incidents and doing their work to ensure that our communities are safe. We recognize that the work of corrections is vital throughout the province, including, of course, in northern communities, which is why the corrections staff in my ministry is in constant contact with the corrections team to ensure that the correction centres are adequately resourced. We will continue to ensure that we carry on this work to ensure that correction centres and the staff within them are fully resourced and able to do their work.
Leader of the official opposition, supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Fully resourced 700 kilometers away, whistleblowers have come forward and alleged that serious staff misconduct was covered up and frontline officers' warnings were ignored. Meanwhile, Indigenous nations like the Haisla, Nisga'a, Haida, as well as Tahltan have not been engaged with regards to this, and their concerns appear to have been ignored. There are sexual predators living in remote communities in the Nass Valley being supervised by parole officers more than 700 kilometers away. This minister seems to think that's just fine, so maybe she can ask a simple, straightforward question. Does she think it's appropriate that somebody 700 kilometers away should be the ones supervising these dangerous offenders?
Minister.
Thank you very much. BC Corrections does use GPS-enabled technology, which allows for curfew monitoring and supervision due to a substantial concern that they may commit a serious violent offense. Electronic supervision is not suitable for the highest risk individuals, and while it cannot stop someone who's determined to commit an offense, it builds on other supervision tools like risk and needs assessments, home visits, curfew checks, and public notifications and programming.
Members, Minister will complete the answer.
In BC,
please continue.
BC Corrections works collaboratively with law enforcement, community partners, and the public when supervising individuals. And any breach of court-ordered conditions can result in charges and possibly time in custody at the discretion of the courts. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Member for West Kelowna Peachland.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I guess we are relying on GPS now to keep people safe. Another Surrey neighborhood sprayed with bullets, families jolted awake by gunfire. This is everyday life now in BC under this government. You have to sleep with one eye open just to ensure your own safety. The minister may be getting a good night's sleep, but how does the minister expect British Columbians to sleep soundly?
Hear, hear.
Minister of Public Safety.
Thank you. I know that people are deeply concerned about the shootings that we are seeing in Surrey and in other communities. I share these concerns. Nobody should live with a threat of violence. And I have met with police leadership across the province, including recently the Surrey Police Chief, to discuss the challenges that they're facing on the grounds in communities. And I appreciate the hard work that police leadership and officers do every day to keep our communities safe. which is why we are committed to providing police with the resources they need to investigate these crimes. We invest over $100 million each year in targeted enforcement of gang activities, including gun and drug violence. These are practical investments that provide concrete tools that help get guns off our street, and we will keep taking action, supporting police and doing the work on gun violence and the issues that we're seeing in our communities to keep people safe.
Member has supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've been on the front lines, attended and responded to shootings. This minister hasn't. I've had to deal with the family and their concerns that violence may continue, with the young children that are afraid, the nearby residents that wonder if their community is no longer safe, and our society that wonders if the suspects will be brought to justice. With all due respect, this minister doesn't know a thing about what it means to deal with these issues on the ground. Metro Vancouver police are dealing with a surge in extortion threats, dozens of shootings tied to criminal networks. In Surrey alone, over half of all extortion cases this year have involved gunfire. When will this government stop putting criminals ahead of Surrey residents?
Minister.
Thank you. In my role as Solicitor General, I work every day with law enforcement leaders and officers, ensuring that I have a sense of what is going on in communities. I'm also in touch with community members, businesses, families who have been affected by gun violence and the extortion, threats, and related acts of violence that we're seeing in communities. We are doing everything that we can to ensure that police have the tools that they need to investigate extortion crimes. This includes setting up the BC Extortion Task Force, the first of its kind in the country, to ensure that there's coordinated, comprehensive investigations taking place. We're providing additional funds to municipal police jurisdictions to investigate extortion threats beyond the scope of the task force. We make our ongoing investments in combating organized crime and gun violence, and will continue to carry on this work, supporting police while also advocating for the bail reform measures that we've been hearing about recently that include bail and sentencing reforms directly related to extortion threats, thanks to BC's advocacy. We will continue to work on all fronts to keep our communities safe.
House Leader of the Third Party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Renters in BC are suffering without comprehensive rent control, but the usual excuse is that mom-and-pop landlords will suffer. Turns out they only make up a small fraction of our rental housing market. It's numbered corporations and REITs who are protected by this government law, not the public. Landlords in BC evict tenants at the highest rate of any province, mostly through no-fault evictions. They're financially incentivized to do it because rent is tied to the renter, not the unit, meaning they can increase rent as much as they want when a tenant moves out.
Member, thank you. I think the issue is already in front of the House. That will be debated later.
It's a bill you introduced. It's a bill you introduced.
Okay.
House Leader of the Fourth Party.
If you want to humiliate your children at school, send them here to us in British Columbia. I have a document in front of me from the government's own curriculum guidance for teachers. It instructs that students are to develop a, quote, mindset of cultural humility. Cultural humility. In our classrooms, our kids are being taught to not take pride in their culture, Canada's incredible culture, but to be ashamed of it. That's because this government and every other party in this House, they continue to defend the practice of land acknowledgements in our classrooms, the pinnacle of humiliation rituals. They shame our kids for having the wrong ancestors, and they impose false guilt for crimes they did not commit, and in many cases events which never even happened.
This issue is also before the House. If
Our
member
kids
has
should be
another
taught to be
question,
proud of Canadian culture because we have the best culture in the world. My question is for the Minister of Education. Why is her government humiliating our kids instead of teaching them?
member, although the issue raised by the member was before the House and it was rejected by the House, but I leave it up to the minister to her discretion if she would like to answer.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. It is very unfortunate that this member continues to raise this line of questioning in this House. We have made it very, very clear to the member and to every single person in this House that our BC is a welcoming place. Our schools need to be a safe place, no matter how you look, what you wear, where you come from, what your background is. Everything we do is grounded in keeping kids safe and making them feel included and welcome. There was once upon a time in this House where every member agreed on that. And it's very unfortunate we're not there today.
Member has supplemental.
Well, in actual reality, this government indoctrinates your kids at school. Their
Member,
curriculum guidance instructs that students should, quote,
Member.
challenge and decenter colonial structures, knowledge systems,
Member.
and hierarchies.
member, the issue was before the House, it was rejected, and the minister has already answered it. Does the member have a different question?
Not.
Thank you. Before I recognize the next member, the House Leader of Third Party, if I had another question other than the question which was already before the House, has the right to ask. If not, we'll move. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Earlier this month, I met a constituent living in her car in Sydney. Even with disability assistance rates below the poverty line, she says she could afford to spend $800 a month on rent if any landlord would accept her. Winter storm season is here. Nights in cars are getting colder. The minister is probably aware that Sydney Council recently voted down a rezoning application to accommodate a winter shelter. That's where my
Member,
constituent would like to live.
Keep it short, please. You have a.
My question is to the Minister of Housing. In situations where municipal governments are unable or unwilling to step up, how is her government helping people find shelter?
Minister of Housing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for such an important and timely question. We know that shelter spaces, in addition to supportive housing, are life-saving, particularly during extreme weather events. That's why we as a government and BC Housing work so closely with mayors and councils across the province to provide emergency winter shelter space, year-round shelter space, to bring more people inside where they can be safe and where they can connect with supports and resources that make them and the broader community safer. We have requests from local governments all over the province, and we work to be responsive and ensure that we can work together to deliver supports, particularly where local governments are making land available so we can move quickly together. We have many great partnerships on this front, and I look forward to being able to speak more about our emergency winter shelters soon. In the meantime, many local governments have been coming to us and working together with requests because they know that shelters are how we improve safety for everyone.
Thank you. Member for Abbotsford West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, a 60-year-old Abbotsford husband, father, businessman, and respected leader was gunned down in broad daylight while he was getting into his truck. Children in 3 nearby schools were forced to lockdown as bullets flew. A man died, Mr. Speaker. My community doesn't want to hear talking points of platitudes. They want to feel safe again. And after 9 long years of this government They do not. So, Mr. Speaker, to the Premier, how can British Columbians have any faith in this government when victims are the only ones to bear the consequences?
Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A very horrific incident, and my heart goes out to all the victims and those children that were involved in that incident. Mr. Speaker, we won't stop until every community across the province is safe. And we are showing leadership in this province. We are showing leadership in this province to change laws and put more resources on the street. Mr. Speaker, it was because of BC's leadership that the Bishnoi Gang was certified as a terrorist organization across this country. It was BC's leadership where there's, for the first time, a 40-person unit that's specifically focused on extortion. And it was BC's leadership that helped change the law of this whole country when it comes to bail and sentencing.
Member for Richmond Queensborough, come to order.
To circle around repeat offenders, including extortion. It was BC's leadership that changed the laws across the country to circle around extortion, circle around repeat offenders, and circle around intimate partner violence to keep those people off the streets. Mr. Speaker, we will keep doing that work. 7 arrests, 7 charges, and more on their way. Thank you.
Member for Surrey North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stood up 1 week ago and asked about shooting in Surrey. Another day, another shooting in my community. Why can't this NDP government keep Surrey safe?
Minister of Public Safety.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the member opposite for the question. I know that residents of Surrey are deeply concerned about extortion threats and related acts of violence. I share those concerns. This violence and these threats of violence are completely unacceptable. The Attorney General and I were at a conference of federal, territorial, and provincial ministers recently and heard that BC is not alone in facing these extortion threats. We are seeing this in Alberta and Ontario. BC, however, is taking a leadership role in the country in combating extortion with our provincial task force dedicated to extortion, and we are starting to see results with the 7 arrests and charges brought recently.
Members, order, please.
And we led the charge for the entire country in the designation of the Bishnoi Gang as a terrorist organization to give the police the tools that they need. We will continue to ensure that police have the resources and that victims of extortion have the supports that they need in terms of safety plans going forward. We'll work in partnership with law enforcement to keep tackling these extortion crimes and keep our communities safe.
Member for Delta South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, Mr. Speaker, my residents of Delta, my constituents are tired of day after day turning on the news morning and night and listening about more killings, more shootings in the Lower Mainland. Mr. Speaker, on the same day as the Surrey shooting, multiple shots were fired into a family home in Delta, all caught on CCTV. A suspect stepped out of an SUV and opened fire before fleeing. Another violent eruption linked to an extortion investigation. Why has this government allowed Delta to become a place where families sleep in fear while criminals run rampant?
Minister of Public Safety.
Thank you so much to the Speaker and to the member opposite for the question. We're ensuring that police of jurisdictions such as Delta have the resources that they need to investigate these crimes and ensure that coordination is happening with the provincial task force. What we're hearing from the task force and police of jurisdiction is the importance of community members with any information to come forward to police, or if anonymity is a concern, to Crime Stoppers. Any piece of information, no matter how small, can support investigations that are in progress. We'll continue to work with police, continue to do our outreach to community to raise awareness about the importance of not paying in the event of an extortion threat and reporting any and all information to police, which will help make a difference and bring these investigations to the place that we all want them to see, which is to see these criminals behind bars.
Member for Richmond Queensborough.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When will the Attorney General take some leadership on the extortion crisis?
Shh. Members,
This
member
isn't a
has the
funny
floor.
matter. A lot of people are experiencing fear as a result of this crisis. It's sorry to hear that you're laughing on that side of the House. When will this Attorney General appoint dedicated Crown prosecutors to work with the police on the extortion crisis?
Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We do have a team of Crown Counsel that's dedicated to these types of crimes. Mr. Speaker, BC has taken a leadership role across this country when it comes to responding to extortion and responding to public safety issues on our street. I am proud of what we put on the table to make it safer for all of the whole country, and we will continue.
Please continue.
We will continue to do the work that we know we need to do to respond to what's happening on the street. I've gone through all of the resources and the criminal code changes that we have asked for and led in this country. We are going to keep at it, Mr. Speaker, until we get at these criminals that are causing harm to our streets and put them behind bars. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
House Leader of the Official Opposition.
We're speaking today about violence that's happening out in the streets. But unfortunately, violence is also happening to our frontline workers. We've had an outcry from nurses who've been coming to this government for 9 years asking for support. Members on both sides of the House were asked to stand and take a photo as a pledge with these nurses and quote, "Violence is not a part of the job." They've been punched, strangled, kicked, spat on, threatened, traumatized, and left to work in fear. So, as members of this House took that pledge, just 4 days later, a paramedic in Kamloops was punched in the face while fueling up their vehicle. Meanwhile, in Vancouver Island, 2 paramedics were assaulted by a driver who crashed into the ER. These are the people that dedicate their lives, outstretched hands, to support our residents. And they are stating that violence is not supposed to be a part of their job. So my question is simple. How many frontline workers have had to take leave under this government due to violence in the workplace?
Minister of Health.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker. Thank you to the member for the question. There is no room for violence in any workplace, whether you're a paramedic, a nurse, a physician, a frontline worker of any kind, Mr. Speaker. And that is why our government is so dedicated to putting the resources in, the policies and the frameworks that are needed to prevent violence in the workplace.
Member.
Mr. Speaker, not only do our frontline...
Members will come to order. Please continue.
Mr. Speaker, not only do our frontline workers need to know that they are safe and feel safe, but patients in our healthcare system do too. Mr. Speaker, that is why we've expanded the Relational Security Initiative, supporting nurses in the workplace and other healthcare professionals, and we are seeing results with over 780 of these protective officers working in healthcare settings. Mr. Speaker, we have seen the incidents of violence come down 8%, and we have seen a 13% reduction in WorkSafe BC claims after only 1 year. Mr. Speaker, we know that violence against healthcare workers has dire consequences for them and for the teams, and that is why this government will continue to take actions every single day to reduce these incidences, to create the safe, supportive workplaces that help recruit more workers into it, and ultimately to support the people of British Columbia.
Member for Kamloops Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, here is the problem yet again with these government's answers to all of these issues. We canvassed yesterday about the critical shortage of mental health services in the 4 psychiatrists in Vernon that resigned, leaving now 151 openings within psychiatry within BC. And here's what, and this is why it matters, Mr. Speaker, here's what Ian Tate, the Ambulance Paramedics of BC Union Communications Director, said in regards to the latest attack, unprovoked attack. The frustrating part is we're seeing it from a lot of unhoused and people who are suffering from mental health. That is the problem when we have a systemic failure of mental health capacity in this province. When is the province going to actually get serious about the critical shortage we have in psychiatry and mental health services in this province, so our frontline workers that are there to actually not judge people, but actually help people, actually aren't getting randomly attacked on a repeated basis?
Minister of Health.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. What has happened with these paramedics, these incidents, are deeply unsettling. I know for them, and I want to say thank you to the RCMP who responded and for the people who provide support to paramedics and other frontline workers when terrible circumstances like this unfold. Mr. Speaker, the continuum of publicly funded services that this government is building out when it comes to mental health is absolutely unprecedented. Mr. Speaker, this year's budget has $4.2 billion lift in healthcare, and that includes $500 million to expand the services of mental health and substance use across this province. Mr. Speaker, it includes Foundry Centres, interdisciplinary teams for youth. It includes integrated child and youth teams. It includes community counselling grants. Mr. Speaker, a way to make low to no cost counselling available to any British Columbian here in the province. Mr. Speaker, it includes building out province-wide helplines, crisis-led community response teams. Mr. Speaker, it includes assertive community treatment teams, recovery centres. It includes the supports that people need to support their mental health as a part of their entire well-being, not just of people and their families, but communities across this province.
Member for Surrey White Rock.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this government, when it comes to mental health supports, this government has made a decision to cut programs that are proven to work. It is true, they cut saplings. I asked the minister directly yesterday. Her answer was she decided to talk about the choices she's making and two-tier healthcare systems. Not once did she address this program that is providing mental health, addiction support, and suicide preventions. My question to the minister is this: will she step in, reinstate that funding, keep this program open? Yes or no, not a speech. Will she do it today?
Minister. Minister of Health. Minister.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. First of all, I want to say thank you to the incredible team at Saplings for the work that they've been doing in the community supporting children and youth with mental health supports. They have had 3 contracts to deliver child and youth mental health supports, and Northern Health has only ended 1 contract. Mr. Speaker, the other funding continues. The work that they are doing is being transitioned into a child and youth regional support team. Mr. Speaker, it's a change that is not a reduction in service, and I want to be really clear about that. psychiatric liaison nurses. They will continue to support both adult and youth mental health assessments in the ER 7 days a week. We have a new regional support team that will be helping families and doctors with mental health assessments, with resource navigation, and access to child psychiatry. Mr. Speaker, we know how important these supports are to communities in the north, to the children and families there, and we will continue to do just that.
Chair will allow one question from member for Skeena.
I appreciate that, Mr. Speaker. So, first of all, one program being cut in a region, I understand it's just one program, but in a region where we don't have any programs is one too many. Just to be very clear about that, that is one too many. Last year, 19-year-old Sebastian Moore from the Kitsillas Nation was murdered. The RCMP recommended charges, but the Crown refused to prosecute, not even for manslaughter. The man responsible is a dangerous repeat offender with a record of violent assaults that have resulted in hospitalization. Sebastian's grandmother, Debbie, asked me something that no grandmother should ever have to ask. She said, "I saw on the news that someone in BC is being prosecuted for beating a dog. Why is a dog's life more important than my grandson's? It's a question that cuts to the heart of justice in this province." She said, quote, "Only in BC is a dog's life more valuable than human life. So enough with excuses and talking points. Will the Attorney General come to my riding and meet with me and my constituents and explain how this happened?"
Mr. Premier.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. This sounds like a devastating case. I am sure that the Attorney General and her team would be happy to meet with the member to discuss it. In British Columbia, we do have a model where Crown Counsel review investigations done by police and make decisions on charges. I did want to stand and address a recurring theme in the questions from the opposition, which was the issue of community safety. Nothing could be more important to this side of the House than safety in every single community of this province. And I was glad to stand with the Attorney General federally for the bail reform changes that are going to make communities safer. Public confidence in the criminal justice system.
Shh. Members, please.
Public confidence in the criminal justice system across the country is under threat. And it's under threat because repeat violent offenders have been released back to communities, because men who assault their spouses awaiting sentencing are released back into community and kill their partners, bail them in court. And these issues needed to be addressed, and they have been addressed. But what I didn't hear the opposition stand, and they say they're concerned about gun crime. I'd like to hear the members on that side of the House explain how every single one of them campaigned to direct police not to enforce federal gun laws during the election campaign.
Shh.
Member says it wouldn't. You heard the member.
Members,
you
please.
heard the member. It wouldn't make a difference, he says. They're still defending their direction to police not to.
Members will come to order.
You hear them shouting at me.
Members, please. Shh. No argument with the chair, members. Premier has the floor.
We hear them shouting at me, defending the indefensible. You cannot stand up in this place and say you stand for safety and community.
Members.
And at the same time say you would direct, if you sat on this side of the House, you
Member
would.
for Kamloops Centre. Members, shh. Members will be quiet now. Shh. Stop it. Please. Premier will conclude.
Defend the indefensible, which is to say that you stand for community safety and you stand against gun crime, and that you would direct the police not to enforce federal gun laws. They acknowledge it's true, it's embarrassing, it's humiliating, it's ridiculous, and it's...
Members,
and
member is...
If it weren't so tragic, it would be funny, Honourable Speaker.